much of misunderstanding, especially in Asia, about what Feng Shui is because people understand it from a very superstitious perspective, which obviously is not very empowering. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, and we have another midlifer here with us. Our guest, Jason Khoo. He is a Feng Shui master based in Singapore, and I think he will have very interesting things to share with us. So, and of course, you know, we have Alina here as well with us. And Alina, you want to say something before I ask Jason questions?
No, I'm all in.
Okay. So, Jason, for people who are completely new to Feng Shui, they don't know what is it about. Would you be able to tell us in, you know, like maybe in under 2 minutes, you know, what it actually is? What's the meaning and what do you do?
Okay. Feng Shui master, in the context of Asia, or including China, with the Chinese culture, it usually covers what we call metaphysics, Chinese metaphysics. And Chinese metaphysics has its foundation with I Ching. I Ching is founded thousands of years ago in ancient China. And since then, it has evolved into different techniques, and application. So this is a general name, right, for someone that practices Chinese metaphysics. They call him or her a Feng Shui master.
Okay.
And such practices started with studying the behavior of the stars and the universe, all right, even thousands of years ago. And then with the application of philosophy, and that's how Chinese metaphysics come about.
Mm. Okay.
Yes.
So it's very much a little bit like astrology, a little bit like working with the elements. Okay. So it's quite very similar, I guess, to Western metaphysics, you know.
Oh, yes,
There's different names applied.
Correct. Yes, totally agree. We have practices even from India, the West and the East, and we find that as we interact with each other, there are many common similarities and applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In my last conversation with you, Jason, we talked about how there is so much of misunderstanding, especially in Asia, about what Feng Shui is because people understand it from a very superstitious perspective, which obviously is not very empowering. Would you have, maybe you want to share more on this and what kind of challenges you may have encountered because of people's superstitious expectation?
In fact, personally, I alone, I was a strong disbeliever of Chinese metaphysics for more than 50 years, half of a century, even with a strong influence of my father, where he is Chinese educated. It didn't get into me because, like what Shamala shared, I come across many situations either through reading or even consulting a master. I see a lot of inconsistencies. So with that, I dismiss that as part of superstition. But now, the reason why I came into practice, and that is because someone has proven to me about the science, all right, the strong science behind Chinese metaphysics. It was just a very simple tea session. And then when I casually passed on my birth details to him, he took my details, plotted into his phone with an app, and he started telling me stuff. And I stared at him with my eyes wide open. Oh, can you be able to tell me things that are so accurately in my life? So from then on, I got inquisitive, and I followed him to take up a course in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. That's an academy, and then from then I didn't turn back. Yeah. So today, I'm a strong believer of science. And many times when I interact with people, I tell them that where there is science, results are defined. So I'm still a very science person. So in my practice, I believe in some things like people would talk about the supernatural. Yeah, and it is part of Chinese metaphysics too. But at this moment, I believe, but I'm not ready to practice, as I shared with Shamala. I still prefer to stay on with what is very strong with the science background. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Alina, how well received or how well known is Feng Shui in your part of the world?
Oh, it's definitely known for sure. Obviously not as strong as what, the Asian, countries are, but it's definitely received with, an open interest and, definitely exists. And we don't so much talk about the Feng Shui masters, well, not in the coastal town where I'm at, but they certainly exist. And, I think that there's, I don't know, it's just received as part of like an extension of, improvement.
Okay. So yeah, good to know that Feng Shui is well known in Australia as well. I think if I'm not wrong, like many years ago, there is a Western lady who created this space clearing with Feng Shui or something like that. And she became very popular in the West. I cannot remember her name, but she really brought the whole
Is it
concept.
Denise Lynn?
Maybe.
So I remember reading a long time ago Feng Shui for the Soul, and what she was talking about at the time just really resonated. Like even just things like when you've got photos and things like that up in the home, and say family photos or portraits and or whatever it is, that if you walk past something that reminds you of a not a pleasant situation, well, then you obviously take it down. But she explained the reasons why. And when it came to that real personal sort of experience, like it was really relatable as opposed to different things that you can do or place around the home or the business to bring things in or to neutralize things. But the one from the soul, I found that, really fascinating. She's the only one that I know of.
Okay. I think Denise Lin is not Asian, right?
No, she's not. She's American.
Yeah. So there's another lady, also a huge, she wrote so many books. I think maybe in the 80s or 90s, it became really popular in the West. But obviously now Feng Shui is not just a Eastern thing, and so I like your perspective of it, Jason, coming from a more science-based perspective, because like in my work as well, sometimes I get a lot of people who ask me questions that are very superstitious based, and I find that extremely disempowering. And when you give science-based explanation, or you help people to make better choices in their lives, right, based on science, it's far more empowering, isn't it, in your work?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes. And that's the reason even what I do is very strongly rooted to ancient China. I have customers who are Christians, who are Hindus, and who are Muslims who come consulting me. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
So,
Right.
Alina, just so you know, Jason's, I mean, this is his midlife career. He started this work, I think when you turn 50.
Yes, 52 exactly when I started. And I was, after I learned the skills, I was practicing casually because at that time I was still a full-time food and beverage person. So I worked for big brands like Burger King, KFC, and our Singapore local bakery called Bread Talk, and many other F&B brands. I
Mm,
usually undertake management roles like the
mm.
senior vice president, the CEOs for operations, business level, and franchising. Yeah. I started becoming very passionate, and I actually took a big change and converted into a Feng Shui master at age 57.
Ah, that's a
Pretty late.
huge
Yeah,
switch
it
from
is. It
someone in
is.
a high level management position and then
Yeah.
going into like, I mean, were people around you surprised, your friends, your colleagues? I mean, were they?
Yes, I always get questions. Say, why didn't you continue? You're doing so well. So and then somehow it could be a calling. Yeah, and it's also a passion, and I actually wanted this as a form of retirement for me, but because of COVID, it came sooner than I expected, and I'm pretty cool and pretty happy about this. Yeah, that I'm
Yeah.
now in Chinese metaphysics. Yeah.
Okay. So your work, your career was put to a halt because of COVID.
Yes, that's right. Because
Mm,
of travel restrictions, I basically
yeah.
couldn't go out of
Yeah.
Singapore. And at that time, my core competence is to help brands, F&B brands, grow out of Singapore
Hmm.
or within Asia, or even in Europe.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was the crisis that I had, and that's the reason why I took a major shift, yeah,
Mm,
to what I do now. Yes.
wow. Wow. Okay. So how has the career in like people, it's very funny. Now if you go on social media, right, you have people who are 30 years old or even younger
Mm,
than 40. They'll put posts like,
mm,
oh, I'm starting over again at age
mm.
30. And then when I look at it, I
Mm.
go like, age 30, that's like nothing, right? That's just beginning
Yes,
of
that's
life, right?
right.
I mean, in my mind, right, I say that. And so I know that it's so different, when you start life or start something new again at the age of 50 as opposed to 30. You
Yeah.
know, when you are at 30, you have nothing to lose. But when you're
Yes.
50, you have so much more. How does that feel
Yes.
for you? What's your process like?
Actually, before I made this a big move, because I am a master myself, so I could read my own destiny chart.
Nah.
So I could see what kind of career actually is suitable for me, and it reflected that a career such as Chinese metaphysics has a lot of similarities with the food and beverage. Yeah,
Oh,
so I was thinking, yeah, so they share a lot of common similarities in terms of what is represented in the star, because
right.
yeah, what I practice is 紫微斗数, all right, is reading destiny through identifying the behaviors of stars. Those are combination of the actual stars in the galaxy and also virtual stars. And
Mm,
the behavior of the stars tells me that, hey, I'm also suitable to be in the metaphysics
oh,
industry. Yep. So with that, okay, that's number one. Number two is my passion. Number three, I've enjoyed even casually when I was doing casual consultation with my clients. I had a lot of enjoyment because I could help people take charge of their lives.
mm,
Uh, yeah, we don't play God as metaphysicians, so we just have to understand that our role is to help people,
okay.
yeah, to
Okay.
gain better perspective, and the little additional skills that we have is that we could somehow apply certain techniques that we learn that we can predict someone's future.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So, hey, you're
Okay.
saying?
So it's like giving them a map.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
They actually, we all carry our life maps since the day we are born.
Yeah.
It's just that at which part of the map are we?
Or
Yeah,
have we
so
gone off the map?
yeah,
We're not even
exactly.
on the map.
So well, they have there is different start point and end
Mm,
point, yeah, in our lives, right? Some are real end point goals, some are in
mm,
between. Yeah, so long as we know where we are and what is to come, that is the best information that we can get, so that we can plan our lives
mm.
with more confidence. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, Alina, we were talking about your book, right? So the second book, I'm not sure whether you're going to interview people in your second book, but I volunteer Jason as one of someone you can interview, for yourself,
Yeah.
because he's gone through so much in his life, all the ups and downs, and he'll be a very interesting candidate for you to interview for your book if you are looking to.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like, it's because obviously, clearly, it's not about me myself. I just use myself as an experience, because then I can do no wrong. I'm not, naming and shaming or finger pointing or anything, and it comes from a place of heart. But when you're talking about other people's experience, it just adds to, different tools. Yeah,
Anytime, just let me know.
I'm going to have to announce a date when it's going to be done.
So, do you plan to write a book, Jason?
Oh, at this moment, not yet, but I would be love to collaborate with anyone, yeah, who has,
Yeah.
who wants to write a book, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think
So,
it's totally fascinating, because obviously, I love hearing stories, like yours, Jason, because, you know, um, just being completely vulnerable to the transition. It's not something that you've questioned or, was fearful of. You had your own career path in front of you, and, you could see the little bits and pieces starting to come through and show itself through to you. And it wasn't until like a major turning point that's when you started to then put everything that behind you, and follow your path. And I mean, obviously there were certain times of doubt, and not having clarity or not clarity, but what did you do in those moments of doubt, and how did you handle the times when you questioned, are you doing the right thing?
So, the decision making is important. I used to share with people around me that some of the life charts that I've seen, they shown very good signs, especially in career and wealth. But as I found out more when I interact with them, hey, I realized that they're just maybe above average, but the life chart shows much more. And through more conversation, I realized that they missed a lot of good timings. Yeah, in what we practice, the place, the time, and who you are with, who you're doing things with, they are very important. So if the timings are missed, and then you just miss the good times that you're supposed to get something. You will still get it, but the extent of it is different, right? So it comes back to what we do, how much we want it. Yeah. So what we always say that we controls we control our own destiny, and that is very true still. Yeah, we can have people giving us the best information, like certain cryptocurrency is going to triple the price, right? And then we get this information. So the next question is, do we want to put our money and trust and have faith and buy it, right? If we do nothing about it, then we get nothing.
mm,
Yeah, so this is simply what I share with people. We don't say that, oh, what I'm gonna tell you, it will definitely come through. It all depends.
okay.
Yeah, some really will come through even you sit down and do nothing. But if when it comes to wealth and career, we really have to put in effort. Yeah,
Okay. So for
yeah.
you in your decision making to switch your career, I mean, how much how much research did you have to do, to get to the point where you go like, okay, this is the right time, or this is what is meant for me. I mean, you mentioned that you look at your stars, and which is very the career of F&B and metaphysics is very similar, and it's okay. But what about timing? Like, did you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the timing is something that we cannot control, and that's why we call it destiny. Somehow COVID came, and it struck me. And if it hasn't been COVID, I would have stayed on in the
Mm.
food and beverage industry because I was doing well and getting a very good salary that I'm quite happy with. And because of that situation, I could start all over, with no clientels and nothing, Yeah, so that was quite frightening at the beginning. Fortunately, I had this opportunity to be part of BNI, right? I believe you guys heard of BNI, Business Network International. So I got into a networking group, and with that, then I get to know more people who can help me grow my business. Yeah. And so this is something where sometimes it's beyond our control. But what is important is we have that awareness by understanding what kind of life are we born with, and where are the times where we can make use and then use those good times, to add value and enhance our lives and make it better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, listeners, if you are wondering about your stars and your you want a perspective from Chinese metaphysics, do get hold of Jason. His contact details are in the description below. I feel sometimes it depends on well, let me put it another way. No matter where we come from, like our perspective, whether we have studied astrology or tarot reading or psychic stuff or anything like that, right? It's always useful to see things from a different perspective. So I have clients who sometimes come to me for, let's say, a tarot reading, and I would also tell them, maybe to get a more accurate or different perspective, try astrology. Some people would also like to go into numerology, which is a different way to look at your life. And so it's not that one is better than the other, it's just a different perspective. And I think it's useful to have a full perspective of everything, and then you make your choices. I think life decisions, when seen from a fuller perspective, makes us, I guess, wiser and more aware of the choices that we get to make. Yeah.
Really agree.
Definitely. And I think, I'm full of questions because I love all this. And I'll be certainly contacting you, Jason. I think, you can never learn enough. You can never stop to learn and grow. And, so many people, and I'm sure would agree with me, that they question, are they in the right spot? Are they doing what they need to be doing? Are they on the right pathway? And I know that's all part of the learning, but hey, why waste time when you don't have it?
Yes, that's true.
I'm all for learning, but I love keeping the options open. And I see, with a lot of people that I come across, they might not be in a situation that they can control. So they might be in an environment that they need to adapt to, or so if it's a family situation. And if they're in sort of that negative environment, is there something that they can do to help them in that situation? Yeah, just to get by, because it's all good to say certain things, to yourself, but there's obviously lots of other ways. Is there anything that you can suggest to help when you are in that situation?
A couple of ways in my practice. I would always encourage someone to first understand their destiny. So it's like solving a problem. We need to get down to the root cause. So the root cause would be understanding what kind of lives we are born with, and then understanding what are the opportunities that lies before us in terms of the timings and of course activities in life. And then when we come across problems that we do not know how to move at the crossroads, for my practice, if I can advise my client through reading the charts, I will do it. Post consultations, I do not charge anymore. They can ask me as many questions as they can, so long as they come in the form of text. I give free advice. And
Wow.
what if those advice or from the life charts I cannot provide anymore and they're still stuck? That is where I will offer other forms of solutions, like Feng Shui is one of them, where there are opportunities to harmonize the energy in the place that they live. So energy is all about metaphysics and astrology and a lot of all these practices. So basically, I will only do my practices revolving around two kinds of energies. One is the human energy, and the other is the space energy. So space energy is related to feng shui. So I will use the life chart as a reference, and then I will actually merge the floor plan in the residence, and then together I find a feng shui solution. Other solutions, some people would need very specific answers. Like, for example, should I end this marriage? Very specific. I want to know. Or if I am buying this stock and share, will I be able to make $100,000 by end
Wow.
of this year? So these are very specific questions. Or this new partnership that I'm getting into in business, is he the best partner for me? Yeah, so with this specific question, sometimes we would not be able to see it through our life charts based on my practice. It will record a activity that you are undergoing something, right? Like you are going to spend money on investment, but on what? That's number one. Number two, after spending the money, would you get the returns? So these are some of the before, after, and during, where you can see things happening in our chart, but it just do not give us a related specific endpoint as to whatever decision we have made, whether it gives us the outcome we want. So that is where when that situation happens, I will encourage my client to use a divination. Yeah.
So is that a tool?
Yeah. Divination is specifically meant for addressing specific questions to find specific answers.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And what sort of tools do you use for divination?
The coin like this
It's like a
is called
pendulum?
the ancient coins. Yeah, no, it's not let me see if I can. Here,
Oh,
can you see
okay.
it?
Okay,
It's
yeah.
an ancient coin. It's an ancient coin. I used three of those, and this is to be thrown up in the air and let it flip, and it comes a different combination, and it has to be done 6 times. The moment we reach the sixth time, then a chart will be generated, and with the chart, we will get to interpret all the things that the chart says that addresses the specific questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So can you
Yeah.
imagine like there is some activity in your in your destiny, like it says, okay, you're spending
Yeah.
money for investment, but then you put your money in the
Right.
wrong investment. And then
Yes.
you don't get the
Exactly.
results,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then
Exactly.
this
Exactly.
is
So,
this maybe
yeah.
what happened, then people blame, oh, it's not accurate.
Yeah. Sometimes in a joke they say, "Hey, you practice feng shui and you can start blaming the furnitures if things don't work." Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
interesting.
so this is what I do. Yeah, I combine 紫微斗数 which is one technique with the other technique. We call it the binary. So this is actually the binary system of divination, and this is
Okay.
invented thousands of years ago, even before computer is being invented. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the early days computer, right?
Yes, that's right. The computer of the universe.
Yeah. How interesting. So there are three
Yeah.
coins, and each of
Yeah.
the coin has a hole in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
it has got the front, just like
okay.
any of our money coin. It has
Yeah.
got a front and a back, and then when we toss our coin, then it will flip and it will give us a different combination. Then
Okay.
whichever combination, it will always come to whether it is a one or a zero.
Mm.
And then some are three coins together, as you know, they resulted facing the same way. So when that happens, then it is not just a one, but it is a one with another remark that I have to do at the side, because there would be a progression of
Mm.
what is before and after.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that becomes more interesting. We can tell people, hey, you are at this stage. And usually when people listen to what I tell them at the start, they got shocked because I do not know them at all. Some of them come to me and asking for answers by just telling me some names. Oh, I think I want to decide whether I should go into this relationship with John. So I basically just use John. I don't even need to know his birth details. And that is the
Mm.
advantage of doing divination. You can
Okay.
just pick up anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the client, from the individual, and then
Okay.
you just toss the coin, and then from what I read in a chart, then I start to say things, and amazingly, it's accurate.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. It's
That's
quite interesting,
incredible.
isn't it?
And I think too, because obviously, like you were at that age, that what we say midlife, for that huge big turning point. Like, we come across a lot of people in the same situation where their life is changing, and I see it as a stronger half, as in like we know more about ourselves, what we don't like, rather than all those questioning times of growth in the earlier years. And
right.
I sort of see it as an exciting time, but I also find it confusing sometimes because there's not a direction. As when we were younger, the way that we were conditioned basically in our era was to get married, have a family, and build everything around the family, and a career was sort of like secondary, and it was all revolving around the home. Whereas now, that home life has changed because a lot of the people in the home have gone, and they've gone on to their other things. And that kind of leaves you with no roadmap or a guess as to what do you like. I don't want to waste all this time between now and whenever my end date is, but I want to live life to the fullest. But there's that lack of direction because, well, I know for myself, I know what I'd like to do, but as to where I would end up, I've got no idea. But I don't want to waste time procrastinating either.
Yeah.
So, this is a really good time for people in our own age bracket, in the 50s, and I'm mid-50, to help get a little bit of clarity and direction. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think also, for us people in midlife, we know that our time is much more limited than someone in their 20s
Yes.
and 30s, right? So there's a sense of urgency. Like if you feel like you have not completed what you want to do in this lifetime, or you want to live a life of greater purpose, and you want some answers, right? Yeah, this is fantastic. A
Yeah,
good
and I think
thing.
there's less fear around it too, because, of I think just our own experiences, we're more prepared to, you know, give things a go. So we're not as hesitant
Yeah.
because we've got nothing to lose. Well, maybe money, if it's monetary related. But yeah, I just think it's more fulfilling. Well, it
Yeah.
could be more fulfilling
Yeah.
if there was
Yeah.
a little bit more direction and I think reassurance.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
it is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's just wonderful. And, for me personally, this couldn't have come at a better time. And so I know that, I'm sure there's so many others, around, they're in the same situation that, everything happens at the right time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it
So,
matters. Yeah.
yeah. So be prepared, Jason, for random people to contact you.
Sure, sure. I'll be very happy. Yeah. I'm very happy. My son is currently 12 years old.
Okay.
And I have two grown-up daughters, 32 and 29.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned that when we met
Yeah.
last time.
That explain my age, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, that
by
he's
doing
already a
that,
grandpa.
yeah,
Amazing.
yes.
Amazing. Okay. Well, thank you, Jason, for being on our podcast here. And before we sign off, do you have anything you want to plug in? Anything you want to share with people? Like maybe last, like some words of advice or words of wisdom that you want to share with people?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me, Shamala, and it's great to get to know Alina today. It has been a fun session, and honestly, I feel that for myself, if I want to be a so-called effective Feng Shui master, to be giving good advice to my clients, first of all, I think life experience is important. Our perspective in life is also important because there's a saying that how we do one thing is how we do everything, right? It's all connected. Yeah. And that's also a reason why when someone have a crossroad in life, it is good to consult someone, either someone that he or she has comfort with, even going back to the family, or seeking professional advice like myself or Shamala or Alina. And that is because what they are and who they are is part of the life chart. Why are they undergoing certain parts in life? That's because what their life is being made up of. So they need someone to come to their assistance, right? To pull them out, to bring awareness to them. So if they make that change, right, when that change is made, it actually cause the behavior to change, and when the behavior changes, the outcome would change. Yeah. So this is the part where I enjoy the most. So. I usually will share a lot of life experiences as well, other than just looking at the life charts when I interact with my clients. Yep. So please, we can share anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that makes
Jason.
sense.
Thank you, Jason. So,
Thank you.
people, if you want to get in touch with Jason, you can see his details below. I think website, maybe his Instagram account, and through the website you can contact him as well.
But
So,
I think it's been a really fascinating time with you, Jason, and I think I think it's wonderful. Like it just helps us realize, I think, that there's more to life out there than having to keep plugging away, and that there is that spark of excitement again, and it just takes people at the right time to come in your path to show you that there's other ways. Thank you for sharing everything. I'll certainly be in touch.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity to get to know you guys. Yeah.
Okay, so we're signing off, and this is Shamala from Singapore,
and this is Alina from Queensland, Australia,
and this is Jason from Singapore.
Bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
I'll have to get a photo.
Oh yeah.